All right, so we are going to be making a card with mittens on the front. So this card, you can do it really plain. You can add more details. What you are going to need is your paper for the back of the card. I have my writing paper. So my writing paper is Happy Hanukkah. It's a half sheet, and my back of my card is going to be yellow. I also have my color of my mittens. So my mittens are going to be purple with white on the bottom of them. You can choose whatever colors you want. That's what makes it really fun. But you're going to have one big rectangle and one small rectangle in the same color. These are the hand part of the mittens, and then whatever you would like the bottom of the mittens to be. So mine, I want white. You could also do them all the same colors. It's up to you. You're going to need scissors and a glue stick, something to color with, and something that you may want to add. I'm going to show you how you can. I have white paint, and I also have some white glitter that I'm going to add a little bit of snow. You could also get a yarn or string and add it to our mittens as well. That is completely up to you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I like to fold the card first. So corners, so my top corners to each other, and then my bottom corners, corner to corner. And then I press it down and slide it across. So this card, you can either do it going up and down like this, or you can do it like this. I'm going to make mine like this time. I have done it both ways because my writing's going to go this way in this one. So I like to do my writing first. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. All right, so now I'm going to work on my mittens. I am getting my 3 pieces. We're going to start with our biggest piece first. And what you're going to do is, I like to have it tall, and then I'm going to fold it down towards me and do your corner to corner so the edges match, and fold it. We're going to be making 2 mittens, but we're going to use only these 3 pieces of paper. So we're going to be folding them in half just so we don't have to do 2 of the same thing. So it makes it a little easier. So I have it folded, and when we're doing it, one thing I want you to make sure is, especially as we do these littler ones, just be holding onto both pieces, because sometimes they will move, and I even do it all the time. If that happens and they move and you're not cutting the right spot, it's okay, we can always fix it. That's just a quick little reminder for you. All right, so what we're gonna do is, for our mittens, we're gonna be making this actually into an oval shape. So to do that, we're going to cut off triangles, the corners on every side. So I have this very weird looking octagon, and I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 corners. Now I'm going to cut off these corners as well, but this time I'm only cutting off just a little bit. So I'm going to just go kind of cut straight across to get rid of that corner. I'm doing that to all 8. And as you're going, you're going to see that you are still getting triangles. They're just much smaller than our first triangles. All right, so I've done all 8. You can now see it's starting to look more oval, not as pointy. I still have points, so I'm going to go through and do the same exact thing, just cut off those points. And each time I'm doing it, you'll notice my little scraps, they get smaller. I'm pretty happy with that. Push my scraps aside. Mine, this is still connected. Mine are not connected. Yours might still be. If they are, just pull them apart, or you can cut it. Mine did move as I was cutting that last piece, so I just want to make sure that both look good. Like this has some little points that I'm going to trim off. So I'm pretty happy with that. They're both pretty round, that's what I want, and I don't see a lot of points. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to grab my other purple rectangle. Again, yours could be different. Mine's purple, so I'm going to take my skinnier purple rectangle. This was the smallest rectangle, and I'm going to fold this, just like I did the big one, in half. So it's still skinny, but it's a little bit shorter. And this is going to be my thumb. So if you're wearing a mitten, Mittens are where your whole, so these 4 fingers are covered, and then your thumb has its own little spot. It's different than a glove. A glove, you have spots for all your fingers. Mittens, these 4 are all clumped together, and then you have 1 for your thumb. So we're gonna actually be working on the thumb parts. This was the part that our 4 fingers would go into. So take it, and this time I'm not gonna be doing an oval. I'm gonna do the same thing I did on half of it, because this is just gonna stay flat. I don't need to worry about cutting it, but I wanna make this part round. So I'm starting with my fold at the top. So again, my fold's at the top, my open part's at the bottom. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut off one corner and then turn it and cut off the other corner. So it's still folded, but my top parts are both cut off, okay? So now, it kind of looks like a little house. Now I'm gonna do what I did before, and I'm going to trim off those corners. So just cut these corners off. So we turn it and just cut straight across to make the corner fly off. So as you can see, it's starting to look more like a thumb. It is still a little bit pointy, still a little bit sharp. So one way you can tell is if you run your hand along or your finger along it, if it's bumpy, really bumpy, you probably still want to trim. So we're going to do same exact thing. Mine still is connected just a tiny, teeny bit at the top, but I have a feeling as I'm cutting this one, it's going to come undone. So I'm going to make sure I'm holding it. Again, because it's so tiny, it's hard to tell, but just very carefully cut all those pointy things off. We don't want any points. Okay. And I think right here, because this one I can still kind of see something. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So, oh, if it might have come done. You pull them apart, you should have two thumbs. I'm gonna set those aside. My last part of my mitten, mine is white. This is going to be the bottom part or the cuff part. So what kind of goes around your wrist. Again, mine rectangle, this was our middle rectangle in size. Same exact thing, I'm gonna fold it. And there are 2 things you can do for this. So I've done it both ways. One way you can do it is I folded it in half and I made a kind of bumpy part on one side so it looks like it's furry. Or you can just fold it in half and then just cut it and it's just a rectangle. So it's not furry. It is your choice to do this one. When it's folded, I just made like little cloud shape almost. But you can do what you would like. This one I think I'm just going to do straight. So after I folded it, I'm going to open it up and all I'm going to do is cut where the fold was. So now I have 2 smaller rectangles. Our next part is going to be building them. So when you're making mittens, you need to remember that your hands are different. So our thumbs are in different spots. So an easy way to do it is, this is how I do it, because if I'm doing it backwards, for some reason, it just confuses my brain. So I like to build them like they're for my hands. So I put the pieces where they're gonna go, and I like to put, like I said, build it like I'm building it for my actual hands right now. So what I do is I like to start with this bottom part first and the actual mitten part, because then it helps me decide where my thumb placement's gonna go. To do this, all I do is I put my glue on my cuff parts. Mine's my white, yours could be different. And then what I do is I pretty much put the mitten almost all the way to the bottom, not quite, so there's just a little tiny space. And then when I flip it over, you're gonna see that it overhangs a little bit. I actually, this one, I even did it farther than I normally do. I usually put it a little farther up just so I can see it go in more, because mittens, when you are wearing them, if you guys look at your hands, they do go in a little bit. So the cuff part is usually a little bit wider than the actual mitten. So there's one, and I'm gonna do my other. And What's nice about this part is you don't have to worry about if you're putting it on the correct side or not. Okay, so here are my 2 finger parts. The next step is putting the foams. So I normally, like you guys saw, I flip over and I glue down where I want the stuff and then I flip it back. For some reason, when I do this, again, I don't know, my brain does not work correctly when I do this because I end up with thumbs on the same side every time I've done it if I don't do it this way. But if you get your brain to work and you can figure it out flipping it over, it may be easier. I like to do it this way because then I can also kind of see how my thumbs are. So you guys can see, you can change the angle of your thumbs, where you would like them. So your thumb might be out, maybe it's close together. It's up to you. I like to do mine at just like a little bit of an angle. And to do it, all I do is I kind of figure out where I want it, and then you slide it out and put a little circle of glue. I'm gonna slide it back under, slide where I want it, and then once I have it where I want it, just press down. Then I do the same thing for this side. So decide where I want it, put a dot of glue, slide it in, and press down. Okay. Your next step is deciding where you want them on your card. So you get to place it however you want. You can do like this. They can be like this. They can go upside down like this. It's kind of your choice. How would you like them? This, again, like I said, this is a card that you could do either even going this way. Again, there's really no wrong way to put them on this. You could do them both like this. I think I'm going to do mine kind of like this. I'm going to glue it in like that. And this like that. Put like a little sideways. I'm going to actually do something different on this one that I haven't tried yet. Okay, so I have done this where I make snow using the white paint, and then I added some glitter to it as well. But I think I want to do another step. So I want to add like a yarn type of thing to it to make it look like they're connected, because sometimes people have a string that connects them so you don't lose them. Because if you have gloves, you might know that it's very easy to lose them, especially just one of them. I managed to do it, which is why I really can't wear gloves, because they just disappear. So I'm going to do a string or a yarn. I'm going to make it wavy. And I kind of like to use my tip of my glue to spread it out just a little bit, or like fill in these gaps where there's a gap in the glue. And I think I'm going to actually add just to the very edge of the glue strip, so the glitter will stick to that and it will match. Okay, so I have my glue. And when you're doing glitter, one of the best things you can do is have another sheet and place it under your surface. And this way, when I'm done, I can put all my unused glitter right back in. So when you are doing glitter, you'll see like right here, it's hard to tell, but I have some that stuck there even though there's no glue, especially up here. And sometimes it just does that. So once it's dry, I like to just get like a paintbrush, a soft one, not one that's really hard. And you just kind of brush it off and it will just float off. So I actually think that's how I'm gonna leave mine. Another thing you can do is you can use white glue or white paint, and you can make little snow everywhere. And then I actually put white glitter on top of the white paint before it dried, and it looked like glistening snow. So you can also do that. I think I'm going to leave this like this. I kind of like that. And then when I do my tree one, I think I'm going to do my snow on that one instead. All right, I hope that you enjoyed making this, and I'm sure someone's going to love the card.